Thank you all for your patience.
No problem. 10:45 meeting with Brian Hayes. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning.
You wanted to meet with us.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I guess there was a meeting that I wasn't present for and some recommendations were made, so I just wanted to continue this meeting and be involved.
Okay, that's fine. I think our problem, Brian, is by the town bylaws, 2 houses are not allowed on one lot.
Mhm.
And we went over this with our engineer and everything, but by having 2 separate septic systems, we don't know how we could prevent in the future somebody using that structure as a second house in violation of the town bylaws, and we don't want to set precedent. That's probably the most dangerous thing, is we don't, 2 houses are not allowed. We have to really ensure that it's not. So our feeling was, I know you said you wanted it as storage and you wanted an office and a bathroom, so the existing house, if the plumbing were removed, well, or even if the septic system was built in, you could hook into the new septic system if you wanted or needed water there.
Okay, so what you're saying is decommission the septic system and the one that I already have a design
new
for
one.
has the capacity for office use.
Yes, because septic systems are based on bedrooms.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't be a bedroom. If it's simply an office with a bathroom, I think it's, what do they say, 15 gallons a day, or it's a very low flow rate. So yes, you can have as many bathrooms as you want in a house. The septic system is based on bedrooms.
Okay.
So,
Um,
But we still have to have the problem with the wall.
yeah, we have to have that decommissioned as a house,
Yeah.
and that's part of the,
Yeah, that would
Code
be part of,
enforcement.
yeah, that would be part of
So
the,
in other words, if you had one little room, we'll say is an office, and then the rest of the house was storage with open.
we're fine with that.
house is pretty much open. I'm trying to think how many walls I could like really remove.
Well,
What do you
we
think the
haven't
foundation-
seen the inside of it, so we don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
And I think you've had this discussion with Mike and Pat upstairs as well about ensuring that it conforms to storage.
yeah, so I guess touching base on that, the last conversation I had with them is we agreed to put up a $50,000 bond, which would cover more than double cover the cost of demolition of the house. We're gonna call it structure. The
Yeah,
house is
yeah.
an inappropriate word here.
Yeah.
So, and then that changed between then and the last meeting you guys had. So I guess the bond isn't satisfactory at this moment.
I don't think we knew anything about a bond. And I'm sorry, you seem to be stuck between 3 boards, and I'm sorry.
Well, the
but,
problem with the,
Our issue is we want to decommission it.
the problem.
Right now, it's an existing house, we want to decommission it. So we figured if we filled in the septic, and then if you wanted to keep 2 small areas and use the rest as storage. And I know code enforcement, also wants it. They want to come in and inspect it as storage, and none of us here have seen the interior of the house, so I don't know if it's an old house with a bunch of little rabbit warren rooms, or if it's similar to something new, which is with a wide open floor plan.
The house is, it's really nothing special. You guys are welcome to come over anytime you like, but I did start doing a floor plan. I guess I'll submit a floor plan to that. And actually, before we get too far, I just wanted to hear what you were saying, the problem with the bond.
The problem with the bond is that unless we constantly send somebody out, like every 2 months or whatever it is, we wouldn't know whether somebody was living in a room because they do have a bathroom. And that's, the bond is immaterial. It's just a money thing, but there's no way, even with the bond, of stopping something unless you actually have the building so that it can't be lived.
Okay,
So I mean, we'd be amenable, Brian, to, an office space and a half bath, toilet and sink. you wouldn't need a shower. It's an office. So, and decommissioning the septic.
Mhm.
Am I correct?
Yep.
Yeah. And tying it into your new system for your new house.
Okay. So my original request with the Board of Health in May of 2022, that was my question. I was like, I don't know how you do this, if you could add a leaching trench or something, but I would like to modify my existing septic system to take the capacity of more bedrooms and take the capacity of one structure being used for office. And that's when the commission called me back and said, we'd rather you just have a separate septic system. But so now we're talking about one septic system, and that's why I moved forward with all the engineering, and I really didn't even understand this as a complication, and I don't mean to be naive.
No, it's not anything you deal with on a daily basis.
I thought, I honestly was under the impression that I was submitting my plan just for a review, probably the calculations, and I'd be installing a septic field 2 weeks later. I didn't even know this was even gonna become an issue.
Well, I think in May of 2022, neither Quinn nor I were
Yeah.
on the-
If the other building wasn't there, you'd be building your new house.
Mhm.
It's all falling on that other structure.
Mhm.
And I mean, nothing against you, but you told us here that there was nobody living in that house. And somebody went over from the town and there was somebody there and they said, yeah, we're renting.
I think you misunderstood that. So,
Well-
I mean, I can understand how you could be confused.
Well, we just want to prevent
Mhm.
future misunderstandings.
Okay, yeah.
And just keep it as simple and straightforward as possible.
And I live there. I moved in there the first of the month right now. So,
So I think, if you can. If you can comply with it, that's what we're looking
Yeah.
for is,
so, there
and
was
that's what we
also,
basically told Norman was decommission the existing.
there was talk about decommissioning the plumbing, so that's not an issue.
Not if you hook it up to the new one.
What's that?
Not if you hook it up to, if you can have a bathroom as long as you hook it up to the new system.
The
I
plumbing?
don't know if Paul's gonna be okay with that.
I'm not gonna be okay with that either. But, I mean, this is, well use. I have an existing well. I have all the infrastructure set up with the pressure tank, everything. I have a storage tank. We installed irrigation lines on, in the new house. I was gonna hook up to town water, so,
Is there town water?
yes. So I definitely wouldn't.
I don't even put on water.
It
I'm
was-
downtown. I'm jealous.
Mhm.
But it's for the big development.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah,
So, and to me, even decommissioning a septic system that's there just seems insane, But, and this is kind of how I look at it, like you telling me like, I'm not gonna let you have, electricity to your accessory structure or to your house because there's a potential that would give you the ability to produce crystal meth or something, you know what I mean? It's basically you're saying, if I have a septic system, I am gonna be enabled to break the law in the future, and I guess I'm just having trouble wrapping my head around this, and again, I wouldn't even move forward, done any engineering, done any site work, if I really, at this point, I'm just going on recommendation of the Board of Health. And then, I mean, the goalpost keeps moving. You asked me to decommission a septic system that this year I've had 2 Title Vs. One, because you guys didn't deem mine sufficient. The second one that was witnessed by the commissioner. I mean, it just, I can't make sense of this.
Well, see, it all goes back to the possibility of somebody living there.
Yeah,
In other words, like, you have the bathroom with a toilet.
yeah,
6 months down the road, nobody knows, you throw a shower in, blah, blah, blah. We don't know that.
okay.
So now it's reverting back to a possible resident.
No, and I understand what you're saying.
And
I'm
it's
just,
not even necessarily you. It could be whoever purchases
Yeah.
that house in the future,
okay,
that they would be able to look at that structure and say, I can do something with this. And they can't, but
Yeah.
the detectability of that is very low
Uh-huh.
for us to be able to do. So that's really, it's the detectability
Yeah.
as being the problem.
So, and then that goes back to our last meeting. I was advised to retain counsel and get a restriction on the deed, which I did right away. And then once I did that, I was informed, oh, we might not do that. You know what I mean? So is there an issue with the deed restriction? I mean, I had that all lined up.
I haven't seen the deed restriction.
No, I didn't do that
Oh, okay.
because
Well,
when I
and
talked.
unfortunately, Brian, we found that people, we have, for example,
Huh?
deed restrictions for 2 bedrooms.
Yep.
And we found out that people are using them as 4 bedrooms,
Mhm.
and then they end up crashing their septic system. You know, deed restriction is really only comes into play when you sell the house. And then it's, you know, if you have a deed restriction for a 2-bedroom septic, you can't sell it as a 4-bedroom house. I don't know what you were told in the past, but historically in town, we've made people demolish, you know, an existing house to build a new one. And so this is where the glitch is lying, is you don't want to demolish the existing house.
Mhm.
And it's going to be used as storage, and we have to ensure that there's not 2 houses on one property, because it would set a precedent.
So is there, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and, you know, when we were talking to Norman, I know you weren't here, Paul told Norman what he wanted to see. And Norman said, well, I told Brian from day one, you can't have 2 houses on one lot. So, you know, I get it, you're getting told different things, we're getting told different things, but moving forward, our goal is to not set precedent and to ensure there's not 2 residences or potential residences on a single lot.
We would rather you take any bath facilities or any water or anything else out of that property.
Mhm.
And then we would be much more happy in saying, yeah, it's a storage building. But, you know, we will possibly let you have, you know, a toilet and a sink, but
Yeah, to Laura's point, you know, the easiest thing that this board could say would be demolish the structure entirely.
Mhm.
But we want to work with you and say that, you know, you're approaching this in good faith. We understand that. So we're trying to find an equitable solution that gives you what you want, that also ensures that the town's laws are being
Okay.
accorded to.
I mean, I looked through the bylaw and I really didn't see whether it said you could have, an accessory structure couldn't have, utilities or infrastructure,
It's not about infrastructure, it's about habitability.
habitability.
So I looked at the same bylaws when I was thinking, you know, hey, it would be nice if like I could put a tiny house on my lot and tie it into the septic or something like that. No, can't do that.
Mhm.
Can't do that.
no, in fact, the town's bylaw says that if you want to put a different structure on, you have to have double the frontage and double the area. So if you needed to make a lot in order to put another structure, technically you need 4 acres and 480 for the frontage or whatever it is.
For a dwelling,
Right,
not an accessory structure.
no, for another dwelling.
But then you need to hit the sidelines and the rear lines
Right,
as
no,
well.
but I'm just saying, you still need to double everything. There's nothing that says that, you know, okay, well, one's here and the next one can be half the size or whatever. It's through the zoning board, I mean, the planning board and everything else in there, subdivision control laws, when you're dividing a lot to do that, it has to be, everything has to be double.
And so right now, if you were to do, like Quinn said, if you were to do a quote unquote accessory unit, which would have plumbing, it also has to be connected to the main house, which that's too far away to do for you. I mean, you know, so that's, all of this ties in,
So,
it's,
I mean, you can't have it's essentially a pump house. You can't have an individual well.
well.
You can have an
pump
individual
house.
well for,
So we did discuss the existing well for the accessory structure. And if it's going to have water, it's going to need water from somewhere. So that would be acceptable.
for landscaping and whatever.
Correct.
Mhm.
Correct. It's just the full functioning septic that becomes the issue.
Mhm.
So this was the best solution that we sort of came up with in order to allow that structure to be existent. and still function to what you wanted it to do.
So, the water is not an issue at this point.
No, I don't think so.
So it's just the wastewater.
Yeah, it's the
Well,
capacity. It's the
And having
capacity.
the extra septic system.
Well,
Yeah, having the capacity to deal with a whole house worth of wastewater, that's sort of where this runs into an issue.
So basically, there's a regulation that you can't overbuild something. Correct.
I don't know that.
All right.
I don't know what you're getting.
What you're saying is, you're saying my septic is not good because it had more capacity than its needed use.
No, we're saying you want to put 2 septics on 1 lot,
Okay.
and that's not a lot.
I just, you know,
And I think we went back to the Title V because I think when I went back to the minutes of September 27th, previously the board had received a complaint that the septic was going into a dry well. And that's why we wanted it originally inspected, because that's not allowed.
Mhm.
And I get it. It was a nasty divorce. There were all sorts of accusations flying, fine. But that was originally why we wanted the Title V done, to make sure that any existing septic was not dumping into a dry well. That was the initial complaint that started everything.
Mhm.
It's from the minutes.
so
Um,
basically,
But you cannot have 2 septic systems on 1 lot. So that's what we need to solve. You cannot have 2. That's all we're on.
so I guess what I'm gonna say is, yeah, no, I definitely would have a problem with taking the water off, you know? And the septic system, I'm gonna have my reservations basically because I acted upon recommendation of this very Board of Health. And second off, I just can't make sense of, I can't make sense of decommissioning this, an existing system because it has, more capacity than, applied to the structure. So,
Well, it's not that it has more capacity. You can put a 6-bedroom septic system and build a 2-bedroom house. We don't have an issue with that.
Mhm.
We have an issue with 2 separate septics.
so I,
So if there's some way to solve that, I mean, you have not started construction on a new septic, am I correct?
nope, well, I mean, that's why I came to,
Because those are the plans.
Yeah,
We look
okay.
at the plans, we have 2.
Change the plans and enlarge the first one.
I'll consider that, and I'll also consider ideas of maybe another resolution, but I guess until that point, I'm gonna hold for further applying for a building permit. You know, and who knows what will happen, you know, maybe we'll do more research and figure out this was wrong, or maybe we'll do more research and figure out I'm wrong. I can't read through your own statements and see where this, or your own bylaws and see where this is prohibited, you know, and it wasn't even my idea, it was yours. So,
Okay, like I said, Glenn and I were not there. I don't
Okay,
know.
right.
oh, I
To
say,
go back
so
to the.
you guys
was in-
representing
and
the
it's
entity,
which-
yeah.
And I was here and I was the chairman, but I don't remember. We'd have to go back and read
I
through.
understand, you know,
And- and-
I only have one septic system in my life, you know what I mean? You know, so I,
And I think it's from now on, I think I'll just buy a place with town water and town sewer and I won't have to deal with this.
yeah,
You know, if you're on town, quite frankly, Brian, if you're on town sewer, you can put 12 bedrooms in.
I'm not, I'm not
You
on
know?
town.
No, you're not,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Mhm.
And realistically, you know, this comes back to that the alternative solution would be to demolish the house. Or demolish the accessory structure.
Mhm.
And then it simply would not be an issue at all. But we understand that you want it in place, which is why we're trying to work towards what we think is that sort of gray area in between statutes to get you what you want as well.
We're looking for a happy medium, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean
So-
that anybody's gonna be happy.
Just say that I did agree or something. Why not just modify the existing septic system?
You can do that.
Exactly.
Do that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
nominated.
you were told you can't.
You can do
unless
Norman,
It has something to do with that septic that we're unaware of.
So what the Upton Board of Health told me is that's what they would prefer.
a new one.
I second it.
You're taking something out of context, though. You saw me like a year ago.
Year and a half ago.
Okay. You didn't really give me any details of what was going on with the new construction, and then we started getting complaints. that this was happening and this was happening.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden the plan appeared, and before we asked you to let us go look at your existing system. And then all of a sudden you presented us with a plan of new construction, and it was like you went from point A to point M without any contact with us. And just because I said that the board would rather see a system for the outbuilding doesn't mean that that's what's going to get approved. And like I said, I had no idea what your plans were. This is a huge project that you're proposing. This isn't just, there's another house going, I didn't know all the ins and outs of what you were doing. And that's why you were told what you were told. It was.
And the other thing too is Diane is our administrator, so she handles the day-to-day. And then at the end of the day, you have to come before the three of
Right.
us. This is the board. This is where the official.
No, that's okay. I guess, a lot of things are becoming clear to me. But it wasn't Diane's recommendation. She followed up with somebody and she said maybe it was, you're saying maybe it was you, I don't
It
know.
might have been Paul.
Paul.
It might have been Paul.
And then I got a return phone call with that recommendation,
Yeah,
so.
'cause our engineer is what we go by. We don't,
Mhm.
we just look at plans and we look them over, but we're not civil engineers or anything else.
Mhm.
So if the engineer is gonna risk his livelihood by putting a bad stamp on a bad system, well, then that's his problem, but we're going by what he is telling us is okay.
So, yeah, I guess I was naive to the whole process and, here I am, I guess it's a burn. But, I fortunately learn lessons every day. I mean, obviously, we should have started this with an email chain,
Exactly.
so.
But I mean, as long as you are doing, if you want to add on to that new system and it's approved under Title V, that it has nothing to do with a dry well or, cesspool or anything else,
Yeah.
then,
I think,
we don't have a problem with you expanding.
right, you meant to say if you want to add on to the existing system, not the new system.
Right.
I mean, it's just, it's an incredible hardship. I mean, there's no way to get elevation to the tank from the other structure if I install the new one. And if I modify the old one, I'm like going on a 10-year-old septic system, modifying it, re-engineering it. I mean, it's crazy. And I'm keeping my composure, but deep down, it's a little panic.
But on the new system, I mean, on adding to the old one,
Yeah.
you can put in technically, as many lines as you want.
Mhm.
So you could add to it, but almost be going new.
Yeah, but add to it, almost be going new, but again, that's, re-engineering of the whole thing and, I mean, for whatever reason, we've had 2 Title V's, it seems insane.
But it is a cost though, it depends on what
And
the cost that you're gonna get to say the new cost for the new system is, we'll make it easy, $40,000.
Mhm.
And to add to the new one, the old one, to make it usable is $20,000.
Mhm.
Well, to me, that's my answer. I'm gonna go add to the old one for the $20,000 and still,
Now,
be,
Are you talking about with the new construction?
I'm confused.
You're not talking, I'm very confused. Are you talking about fixing the old system and doing away with the new construction?
no, yeah, because he hasn't got it, he's only got a plan, he hasn't got it installed or anything.
Basically, as long as he ends up with one,
Right, one,
Right, so he can add on to his existing system
right?
with as many lines as he needs.
okay. I just don't want him to think that we're talking about two systems.
No,
Never two
no,
That's our problem, Brian, is two systems.
but it's
That's
all,
where you hit a
it's a
wall.
cost thing as far as what the adding on to the one to make it usable for another 30, 40 years against building the new one.
Brian has some,
But if I tie the old one into the new one, I mean, the elevation of the house is lower than the tank that's proposed on the new one.
Yeah, this is not with the new construction. You're talking about keeping the house there.
As an auxiliary building,
And I don't know.
well, we said that he could put a toilet
I
in.
know that, You can have Norm talk to Paul.
So that would be
They know
one
each
system
other,
instead
they're
of
both
two.
engineers.
So like he says, the
I can tell you
grading
what
is.
to do, Brian, but
Everybody has pumps.
I don't know, I'm not an engineer, I don't know what I don't understand pumps. I mean, I know the overview, like you may know the overview, but the engineers can tell you what's best for you.
I mean,
There could be something lurking out there that I don't know, maybe there's a chunk of ledge in between, who the heck knows?
I mean, I'd
You know?
rather do everything with gravity, you know, I mean, if I go to this, proposed septic system for the new construction.
Mhm.
Would not be any possible way I could do that with gravity.
Okay, so if you we did, thinking out loud, we disabled the old septic system, you put in your new system.
Mhm.
The whole issue with having a bathroom in the office or the storage area is for the workers. Is there any way you could add, like you see it at the high schools, there's like a little outhouse room that just has a bathroom and a sink tied to your new house. That would, then it would resolve any plumbing issues. You could still have water in your storage. But if the purpose of it is to have a bathroom for any workers on site, if you built like a little shed, you know what I'm saying?
It'd only be one worker, yeah.
Yeah, so I just have, like literally, like almost like a pool house, sometimes you go to people's pool houses and it's about, it looks like a bath, an airplane bathroom.
Yep.
That
It
would
would be,
solve
it
it
would be
too.
one door on the outside of your house with a little, say, 6x6 room or whatever it was. You couldn't get into your house from that room. And
So
it would be locked.
But
I mean, would
we're
would that
talking
solve it?
about new provisions and new construction to alleviate, something that's already existing. It sounds,
The
again, it
problem
can't make
is
any
the
sense.
the two houses on one lot. That's what we're bumping up against. Two septic systems, two houses. It's a violation. That's where we're at.
Okay,
So how it gets resolved.
So if I
We came
can-
up with some ideas, but at the end of the day, our engineer has to put his stamp on it.
so should I be talking with your engineer instead of you?
Probably, yes.
So how about we do that?
Yeah, why don't you, like I said, and you, Norm
Okay.
and Paul can sit down. They know each other well.
And then he will,
I thought they came to a meeting of the
Right.
minds and
Yeah.
then.
When Paul
like
will
our
get back to
engineers
us.
come in.
Well, it's my property.
It is.
I'm the most important element. to this
Most
thing. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, Norm is very friendly. We've talked about a lot of stuff, but he's not the engineer that I've developed this whole process with in this firm, so.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, he's kind of walking into this blind and representing me.
Okay,
you know.
then take the engineer you've dealt with and talk to Paul.
Yeah.
And you can reach out to Paul and have
Or
a meeting.
I could bring Norm up to speed. That's fine, what I mean?
Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever works for you, whatever works, Brian, but at the end of the day,
Mhm.
as we've said repeatedly, the engineer has to stamp it, and
Okay.
we go along with the stamp. Like I said, the two engineers came in, we said, Paul said, this is what we want, we agreed.
Mhm.
Deal with the engineers and then come back to us, and then you'll have a solution, because we're not the experts, they are.
right,
I think this gentleman said there was only a couple minutes.
Yeah,
No,
my
he's got somewhere, not me.
my
Okay.
babysitter is leaving at 11:30.
Oh, okay. So I'm not gonna hold you up anymore, but I guess my last question is how do I arrange this meeting?
I
Thank you.
can take care of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Should I
Give me your
contact you?
availability and, maybe we could email Paul, Norman and you, three of us together, and I'll see what everybody's time schedule is.
awesome.
Okay.
All right. So do I initiate that email?
No, I will. I'll
Okay.
do that today.
Great. And do you have my email?
Just in case, why don't you give it to me?
BLUENOVAGROOBE@gmail.com. Sorry.
Over that one.
Nobody else had it, right?
6 letters.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Brian,
Take
happy
care.
holidays if we
Yeah,
don't see
you
you,
too.
take care.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you want to leave, you can leave.
All right.
yeah, if you have to go, Quinn,
We have
thank you
nothing-
for
we have
coming.
nothing that's-
We're just gonna go through the budget. You don't have any issues with the budget?
Yeah, did you have any questions on that budget?
I did have a question regarding
Yeah.
beaver management.
Yes.
I thought with getting the beaver traps, that would increase the amount of
It's a budget line item, that's all.
understood, okay.
So,
And we
it-
put it-
but
we're
you're
not-
right, it should
Yeah.
definitely help.
But at the end of the year, if the amount spent for beavers is
It's
$1,200,
lower, then we're fine.
then the other money goes back into.
Yeah, This goes back to the town if we don't use it.
That was my only
That
question.
was your only
Okay.
question.
Thank you,
Thank you.
much appreciated.
Okay.
It's like the $10 for demolition.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
a joke.
I was wondering about that as well. $10 for demolition. What are you doing? Swinging the hammer once?
Exactly. Thanks, Gwen.
Thank you.
Just a-
Great holidays if we don't see
Yeah.
you.
What's up?
He's just showing up for $10.
I know, right? If you're lucky.
Yeah, they might get a phone call for
I'll
that.
answer the
Yeah.
phone.
You
Right,
want this?
take care.
Clint, you want this?
Sure. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so, I reviewed the Board of Health budget. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. It's,
Okay.
it only went up $20,000.
So,
And,
And it's it's all trash.
right, but everything else is limited. In other words, like, the wages are all limited by the town. We're under contract to Wheeler. It all depends on, even the trash bags, we're buying them, but
that could go up.
no, but that goes into the general fund, the money that we take
Yeah.
in. So it's not a revolving thing on our point. So it really doesn't make any difference. I mean, it does as far as if we do 350,000 against 400,000. But, it doesn't have any effect on what we have to put in.
Harvey's bill, it just could go in any direction. There's just no telling. And if you looked at the history, I mean, it goes up and down. It just,
Right.
there's no rhyme or reason why one year would be less or more and.
Well, yeah, no, it costs no less though.
And we're in contract with Harvey Tillman.
Till 25, so.
It is what it is.
To the end of June of 25. So, and there is nobody that's been able to beat Harvey's price at the moment, so I don't know that it's gonna change anytime soon.
Trash is brutal.
It is.
Nobody's taking it. China's got to take
But here's the thing, and I asked Diane to call Milford. Milford charges $30 for mattress and box spring at their transfer station. They have Harvey. They also do, one large item per week, free. Now, I don't have no idea what their budget is. It could be $10 million. But I'm just saying that, if we got a little insight from somebody that does that type of stuff, why is ours 100 and theirs 30?
Because
know?
they have a transfer station and they have hired somebody to sit there.
Yeah,
And
to
watch
80-year-old
every
guy.
single mattress that comes in,
Right.
okay? So now we're
And
gonna
they don't
have to
take cash.
pay. We're gonna have to pay to hire somebody to sit and we have to rent the dumpster for the bin, for the mattresses.
Right.
We have to hire somebody to watch each and every mattress that goes in there. And not only that, but actually physically put it in the dumpster. So you gotta have somebody that's strong enough to do it.
Right, but what they're actually,
There goes all your savings.
right, but what
Well,
they're
also
actually,
in Milford, you can throw away as much as your little heart desires.
but what they're saying is, if that's the truth, then that the actual cost to get rid of the mattress is only $30. It's not 100.
It's because it has to be handled so many times. That's why it went up so much. Because Harvey picks it up and they need more than one guy usually to pick up a mattress. Then it goes to Harvey's and then they have to rehandle it
And put it
and
in
ship
trail.
it somewhere else. So
Send
but
it to
they're
New
charging
Hampshire,
for all of
send it to
their
New Hampshire where they can burn them.
employees. So it's a problem. There's no.
Well, it's the same thing with the one item though a week. What is their cost for that? They're putting out one large item. Now, like right now, there's a toilet on, Chestnut Street.
Yeah, I've asked that to be picked up about 4 times already. I don't know what's going
well,
on.
if they don't pick it up in a couple of days, I'll pick it up and I'll drop it down.
All right, any other questions on the trash budget? I mean, on the
No.
budget itself?
No.
I did my very best to try to explain all the payroll and the,
Well, the payroll's limited because of
yeah.
what the
that's
town pays, so,
1.5% COLA plus a merit increase.
Right. and Trish doesn't get her merit because
Yeah,
she's over the same.
she's already at the,
Which we never went to.
The review, has that been finalized yet?
they're in the process of We don't, it's gonna take a long time before anything happens with that. But Trish needs to definitely, her grade needs to be changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what I thought the review was for, was to upgrade some of the grades, because it's
And I
not
think
reflective.
it will happen, but when is the question? In the meantime, she just stays and she can't get a merit increase.
Well, it should
she
be
can't get
retroactive.
How is the fee?
If you're taking 3 or 4 years to do something you could do in 6 months, then it should be retroactive.
Well, hopefully we don't. Any other topics not reasonably anticipated?
Yep, just, trapping, we got 4,
Okay.
but the trap broke. I kind of patched it, but we got a spring yesterday. But they named, yeah, the big spring that on one side.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can see it was a defect in it because he had rust on half of it, metal, but I
they can-
clamped it to the side, so. We got a new spring. I don't think they built this. There was no paperwork in
They
there.
should be.
They didn't.
They
Well,
shouldn't, because
yeah,
it's so new.
Yeah, but traps sort of fall in a different category.
Oh, I'm sure,
You buy it, you own it, but anyways,
except in Massachusetts, there's an implied warranty of merchantability.
And so,
Should
right now,
expect for
go-
an expected period of time.
I got him on Harvard Ave South. I'm talking to John Johnson this morning. He's got another spot down there. I can't find the dam he's talking about. He's gonna show me.
Mhm.
I walked that whole area with the track both sides. I like finding the pumping station. They got a small dam on the other side of the tracks, but nothing's freshly chewed in a long time. It's all brown and dead.
Hmm.
He says, oh, there's another big dam there. Oh, he's got to show me because I can't find it.
Okay.
I can't find it. Walker Drive, after those two, looks like that's calmed down. They're not building, so we'll go with that.
Nothing on Southport Road.
I haven't got the South Fork Road yet. No one really complained about it yet. I just go into the spots that the town people, you know, like the water department's complaining to people. I'm trying to deal with those.
Okay.
Conservation hasn't said anything to me, so I ain't gonna address it until they say something.
Take it as we find them.
And then I do have a dog hearing Wednesday night.
Wednesday?
Tuesday night, so we'll see.
And
how-
that goes back to. Was that?
October 19th, the dog biting happened.
Was that a
Okay.
delivery person or?
Well, no.
And that was the second.
That's the second bite, happened in, April, and now we have another one, and it's,
And the reason there's such a delay, getting the selectmen, I assumed you.
Yeah, the two people in the-
All of the
the two people
people.
in the office.
Okay, so
I
you
gotta
turned
say-
in all of your paperwork on time and it just has not been
Oh,
scheduled?
if I got the email, last, I think Diane got the same copy of it.
Put that on our friend's list.
Email was,
Keep building up stuff.
give me a second, I'll dig it up.
That's okay, but you submitted everything and it's just been,
Well, so last Thursday, I got an email in the morning, and Mike, here's paperwork from Sandy, paperwork for the dog hearing. I take back to it, you already have it, I gave it to you in hand.
and you
that-
gave her the original paperwork back in October, roughly?
Well, no, that's why I tried to get a dog hearing, and Joe kind of pushed me off, and they figured couldn't do November, now we're gonna do December 5th meeting. And, so, get all the paperwork together. I come back from vacation, go see Joe, of course. No one's in the office, no one's in the office. I finally meet up to Joe on Thursday, what's going on with dog hearing? Well, Sandy's on vacation, I'm gonna have to find out with her, and I'm like, well, I need to serve this guy papers saying he's got the hearing. And then, of course, Joe never got back to me until the following Monday, when I got a little PO'd. And then, so he's supposedly working on it, then Sandy sends me an email last Thursday, I said, looking for the paperwork, and I said, I kind of loaded the question, but I already gave, you already gave it to you. And then I called Joe, and Joe was like, if it's here, Mike, I'll find it. Well, 3 hours later, Joe says, we can't find it. So
Okay.
asked me to make copies, so I made copies. I go back, now it's just after 4, I'm waiting, Joe's talking to somebody. And then Sandy comes out and sees me holding the fit packet. She goes, oh, Mike, you found the paperwork? No, Sandy, this is a copy of the stuff that I handed back on November 6th to you that you lost. These are duplicates. She just walked away. And then Joe finally came out, I gave it to Joe, but I did give Joe an info. I'm not playing fiddle with her. I'm missing paperwork. I am not putting up for, the state should, when she sat down and talked, Joe came out, the state should already been typed into the computer. Done. Joe goes, well, next time we should do an email. Everybody's right there, 3 hours right there. All you did is had, because he makes a big deal of being a dog hearing. Like I told Joe Friday when I seen Joe, because the letter get written wrong date, I had to look at Reddit before I handed it to the guy. So Joe had to read it Friday, I handed it to the guy, Friday guy, the guy's been really good.
Right.
That's the only thing, I don't panic, guys been really good to work with, but, he's never done a dog hearing, which I told him, I understand, but I said, just so you know, when Blythe Robbins is here, we have our first dog hearing. I guarantee somewhere in our computer system file, Blythe made up a folder, everything for dog hearing. I just know Blythe how she was.
So she was very detailed.
She was very like that. She was very good about that. So I kind of explained to her, I said, I'm gonna serve the guy in hand. I said, we're gonna talk to him. I'm gonna come up with a solution, hopefully before we have the meeting. I'll run it by Bradley, make sure Bradley, because the first one's gonna get the call.
Right.
And then I'll run it by you for the meeting, tell the selectmen what the solution is, and then at that point, we have the hearing. If they don't like anything about it, this is time to change it. Hopefully, it works for everybody, and we're in and out quick. But now we're doing it during your workshop hearing. The hearings,
How long?
the workshop on next Tuesday, you got a workshop, something going on, and that's when the meeting's gonna happen.
Nobody told me. So, all right, that's
Right.
fine.
But
I'll get
definitely,
updated sooner or later.
Definitely was unhappy,
Yes,
especially with the comment, you found the paperwork, and I let Joe know.
yeah, okay, that's fine.
I did apologize on
Nope.
Friday for yelling at him, but I said, I'm all done playing this game.
I just wondered why there was such a large space of time, and
Point.
now I know.
Yeah, we said you couldn't get it in November. November's meeting was solid. I wanted it for November because it was second bite.
We had a couple of great, in the last few meetings, we've been on time, in and out, quick, easy, so,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any other topics?
No.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded. Which makes it unanimous.
Majority-
There's only two of us.
Majority vote on the.
Majority vote of the board.
So